The world's best athletes gather to compete in the Olympic Games every 4 years. Now let's imagine that those natural athletes, the birds, could take part in the Olympics. Over at once to sports commentator Mike Hurley.
Well, thanks very much, Jeffrey, and yes, this promises to be a remarkable race. In lane 1, we have Olympic medalist Linford Christie. Up against him are some of the fastest running birds in the world. In lane 2, with the bronze singlet, the pheasant, originally from China but now resident in Europe. There's the ostrich in lane 3, representing South Africa. Nice to see them here. And late onto the track, the famous roadrunner from the USA. They're settling down into the blocks now, and there seems to be a certain amount of tension between the contestants. Having a good look around, getting the feel, the atmosphere here, which you could cut with a knife. They're under starters' orders. Steady there! Oh, we nearly had a false start.
Set.
And that seems to have unsettled the ostrich. Tense excitement. And they're off! The lightest bird, the roadrunner, gets off his mark first. The pheasant's just behind, and Christie's got a good start too. Look at him go! Oh, the ostrich makes a slow getaway, but wait till he gets into his stride. He's one of the fastest things on 2 legs. And the order. The roadrunner's still just in front, chased hard by the pheasant who's gaining. Christie is pounding down the track. Oh dear! Oh dear! The ostrich is still behind, but... Oh, what's this? The roadrunner's lost his concentration. In fact, he's lost his way entirely. He's out of his lane and right off the track. Well, I've never seen anything like this before. And yes, he's being passed by the pheasant and by Christie. Look at Christie come up on the outside. He's really going for that world record. Well, the roadrunner, I don't know what he's thinking of. He seems to have pulled out of the race entirely to catch a dragonfly. Well, the ostrich is finally up to speed. The cock pheasant just hasn't got the stamina, but Christie powers onto the tape, and so does the ostrich. What a finish! It's neck and neck and neck. Look at what a neck! The ostrich gets the gold. Christie the silver. The pheasant is nowhere. He doesn't even finish, and the only bronze he'll get is on his running vest. There's no sign of the roadrunner. They're looking around. Where is he? Still with that dragonfly, I think. Well, what a terrific race. And now let's look at that 100-metre sprint again in slow motion. Christie fairly catapults himself away from his blocks. His body weight is so far forward he'd fall over if he didn't drive his legs so hard. His average speed will be about 36 kilometres per hour. And let's look at the roadrunner style now. It's quite different, isn't it? Weight well forward, tail used for steering. Now the pheasant's got real muscle power in those legs. He's doing well for a small bird, but he's no stayer. He runs out of energy too quickly, but let's take a look at the winner, shall we? Let's have a look at the ostrich. Here he is, a picture of the ostrich. He's 7 feet tall, weighing more than Linford, and just look at those leg muscles. They make up 1/3 of his body weight. Can you believe that? At top speed, he's touching 60 kilometres per hour, the speed of a racehorse, and covering 3 metres with each stride. Just look at that striding power, and believe it or not, this giant athlete actually runs on the tips of just 2 toes on each foot. Back to you, Jeffery Boswall.
What a shame we can't organise races like that. Part of the sheer fantasy was that the competing birds were from different continents. To a bird, speed is really useful only if it helps it to catch food or escape enemies. Unlike ourselves, birds don't compete for the sake of it, for sport or for fun. In fact, evolution shapes the different species living in any one place precisely so that they can avoid competition for the same things, like food and homes. But of course there is intense competition in nature, and it happens commonly between individuals of the same species. The fiercest competition of all is probably for mates. These are ruffs, and they're gathering at a traditional site in Holland. Their only purpose in coming here is to win mates. The first step is to attract an audience. The females, called reeves, are the spectators, and they're also the judges in this contest. They've got a keen eye for form. The rules can be as rigid as in the Olympics. The boxers wear different colours so that they're instantly recognisable. The ruff does exactly the same. No 2 males wear the same coloured ruff. Formal courtesies are exchanged between boxers but not between roughs. There are some resemblances between these two kinds of boxing match. Both are about testing the weaknesses of the opponent, and style counts a great deal with the judges and with the audience. In both contests, there are rules to prevent serious injury. The boxers have to wear gloves. The jabbing and sparring is largely a ritual. Neither bird normally causes much harm. In the Olympic ring, the referee warns both boxers against committing a foul. Real violence flares only when one bird invades the other's corner or display ground. Each of these boxing rings comes to show up as a bare patch on the grass. They'll risk being hurt only to defend their right to display. In Olympic boxing, there are no draws, only losers and winners. The most impressive boxer wins a medal. The fittest roughs, there might be several, have also been noted by the females. Their prize is to mate with all the reeves that they've suitably impressed, to perpetuate their genes and to father future champions of their own. The overall winner is the one that mates with the most females. In a very different arena, there's a very different test of skills. Although the rock doves and their opponent, waiting in the wings, are taking part in the same contest, each has evolved in a very different way. And they need different adaptations because, unlike the roughs and the sprinters, they aren't after the same prize. One competes to escape being eaten, while the other competes to eat. The peregrine falcon is the jet fighter of the bird world. Doves can be its favourite prey. In a moment, when it stoops, plummeting down, the peregrine may touch 180 kilometres an hour, making it the fastest known of all birds. But first it will have to gain some height. The doves know every nook and cranny, every dip and fold in the cliffs around which they live. The falcon's up there and ready, but will speed alone be enough? It half rolls into the attack. But now the peregrine's lost the advantage of surprise. It makes a fresh attack, this time hoping to split the flock and single out a target. But no. Even falcons can't win them all. Slowly, over ages, hunter and hunted have in effect polished each other's skills. In each generation, fitter doves have escaped, and less skillful peregrines have starved. It's a race, an arms race, in which tactics and weaponry can be refined with each generation. It's a race in which natural selection has, as always, proved to be a force that in effect can train great champions. But in level flight and still air, neither the peregrine nor the rock dove is the fastest bird known to science. The holder of that record is the eider duck. It doesn't pit its speed against others, but tests itself simply against the problems posed by where it lives. Its speed is 74 kilometres, 55 miles an hour. The eider is not only streamlined aerodynamically, its shape also lets it easily dive in the sea. Small wings drive the heavy body at high speed. As with all other creatures, the eider's combination of design features essential to its lifestyle enables it to fit beautifully into its niche. Such powerful flight ensures, for example, that eiders don't get blown off course by crosswinds on the way to and from their northern breeding grounds. These birds were thought to hold the level flight speed record. Indeed, their speed gave them their name, swift. And they certainly look swift, although in fact they rarely exceed 40 kilometres per hour. Their swept-back wing shape is the most efficient of any bird. Swifts are adapted for a life of almost constant flight. They're specialist gliders. They have to land only to nest. In its lifetime, a bird will travel hundreds of thousands of kilometres. But other birds enter an even longer event. It's August off the Scottish coast. Every summer, thousands of Arctic terns come here to raise their families, usually in the colonies where they themselves hatched out. They're truly marathon birds. The fishing is good and the young tern grows quickly, but the time is at hand to leave. They're setting off on a journey to the other end of the world, to the Antarctic, to the coast nearest to the South Pole. We'll join them again near the finish. Before then, they'll face many trials, just like human marathon runners. In any marathon, energy efficiency is the key to success. In the early stages, the runners must set a pace slower than feels comfortable to them, saving their strength for later. The ideal build for this sport is said to be 10 kilograms of weight for every foot of height. But body shape is more important to the ocean travellers in the seabird marathon. The different albatrosses that circle the southern oceans rely for soaring on the shape of their wings. These enable them to make use of the wind deflected upwards from the waves. Like this, they can travel almost for free, but only over the world's windiest seas. A different shape for a different lifestyle. Not quite an albatross, but likely to be placed in any long-distance event. The frigate bird can fly up to 1,000 kilometres from land. To save weight, it has no oil on its feathers, so unlike the albatross, it doesn't settle on water. Frigates have to refuel on the wing. These are following sizable hunting fish, hoping to catch flying fish that often leap out of the water ahead of their pursuers. To think that flying fish came to fly to avoid underwater enemies, only then to meet above-water ones. The relay, "10 kilometres gone. Runners can't eat on the move, but they must drink. The crunch comes when they've covered 2/3 of the distance. Now they're using their reserves of carbohydrates, but when these run out, they must start burning body fat. Fat is not so easily converted into energy. Legs feel like lead, the brain goes fuzzy. They call it hitting the wall. It's then that the fittest, the most determined, and above all the most efficient runners come into their own. There's some parallel in the world of long-distance seabirds. This sooty tern is coming back to its colony for the first time since it left as a youngster 3 years ago. It's been flying literally continuously ever since. Like the frigate bird, it would get waterlogged if it settled on the sea. It undoubtedly gets the gold medal for flight endurance. It drinks, feeds, preens and sleeps on the wing for 3 years. In 6 weeks' time, this sooty tern chick will be ready to embark on its own 3 years of non-stop flying. Sooties, arctics and other terns perform prodigious feats of ocean travel using their superb aerodynamics, here revealed in slow motion. The winner enters the stadium revitalised with the adrenaline of triumph. She's covered the 26 miles or 42 kilometres in the amazing time of 2.5 hours. But even finishing at all is something of a victory. Let's rejoin the Arctic Tern Marathon. It's November, 3 months later, and the surviving terns have a flight of 20,000 kilometres safely behind them. They've arrived for another season in the south. What is it that compels them to complete this marathon year after year? Well, here they find an abundance of food and less competition than elsewhere. They'll return north in March. When the terns set out for home, another remarkable journey is just starting in the Antarctic. But this one's on foot. The emperor penguins have come ashore to march and toboggan to their nesting ground, some 80 kilometres away across the frozen sea. Walking doesn't really suit them. They waste a lot of energy swaying about, something human walkers can't afford to do. Wiggling their hips means they can go faster without actually breaking into a run. The walkers are, of course, utterly concerned with speed, and they're averaging about 13 kilometres, 8 miles an hour. The penguin walkers are making barely 3 kilometres an hour, but for them, speed isn't important. On the ice, there are no predators to avoid. What they face is something that humans would find far more terrifying, the Antarctic winter, with temperatures down to minus 50 degrees centigrade. Each of these males has been entrusted with a single egg. It will be kept warm, balanced on the feet, and safe under that fold of feathered skin. The females have returned to sea. The temperature drops, winter comes, and for 100 days the males will feed only off their own accumulated fat. They conserve as much heat as possible by huddling together or even allowing themselves to be buried by a layer of insulating snow. Such conservation tactics mean that they use less than half the energy that they'd otherwise expend. Birds on the upwind side move round periodically to the more sheltered end of the mass. Squashed together like this, there are 10 birds in every square metre. The eggs, still balanced on their feet, are kept up to 80 degrees centigrade warmer than is the freezing air around. teamwork does have its rewards. All these amazing feats of bird endurance, each a marathon of a kind, depend upon making really efficient use of a source of energy. Efficiency takes many forms. The aerial gymnasts, the hummingbirds, get from nectar the energy to drive their furiously beating wings. Gathering that fuel must be quickly and carefully done if consumption isn't to exceed supply. A slow-motion replay reveals their exquisite control and coordination. Feathered athletes have to be extremely specialised to excel, each in its different way. To these specialists, such feats come naturally. Top-class human athletes become highly specialised too, but only after they've put in an awful lot of hard work. We've seen how different bird species don't normally compete with each other for the same prize, for example the dove and the falcon. But outside sport, humans break the rules of natural competition. We do compete directly with other species, with birds for the use of their homes or for their food, for example when we drain a marsh or fell a forest. Bird specialists are so well adapted to what they do that they can't do anything else. A hummingbird can't turn to fishing if its flowers are destroyed. With nowhere else to turn, birds can be left by us high and dry, like canoeists in a marathon. But now it's time for the last event in the Bird Olympics. Over again to Mike Hurley.
Thanks very much once again, Jeffrey, as you join us in the Olympic pool here in Seoul as some of the world's fastest swimmers enter for the finals of the 100 metres freestyle. And what a race this promises to be. There's the Australian national champion. He's got a lot of support come here from down under. There's the competitor from Russia. Bit of a wild card, this chap, hardly known outside his own country. And the fastest swimmer in France, there he is, now being welcomed warmly by the crowd, and no prizes for guessing who they'll be cheering on today. But here's the favourite. Here he is, Matt Biondi from America, the fastest man in the world at this distance. Well, we've got a truly international lineup here. And look at Biondi. He's taking no chances, is he? He's wiping every last drop of water off his starting block in case he slips. And there's supposed to be a team from the Falkland Islands coming here as well today. I don't know whether... here they come now. They're Gentoo penguins. Now, you find these Gentoos right round the Antarctic, but of course the Falklands are well to the north of Antarctica, so I guess it's been easier for the islands to send a team. Well, the penguins find it hard going walking on their flippers, but just wait until these boys hit the water. You'll really see them go. Yes, right, I'll do that. I mentioned flippers just now. I'm sorry if I misled you. I've just been told that the penguins don't use their feet when swimming. They actually fly underwater with those short, stiff wings. Well, that's certainly freestyle for you. I wonder what Biondi and the others will make of that technique. This straggler here just catching up with the others who are lining up now. Biondi's taking deep breaths to help him relax and concentrate. And they've been asked to get up onto the blocks, waiting for the starter's bleeper. As all penguins are ready. They're off, and it's a good, clean start. There go the penguins. They're having to time their dives carefully to hit the waves just right. There's some confusion, a few false starts, and there they go properly now. Well, it won't take them long to make up for that lost time, I'm sure. The humans are looking good, already up to their maximum speed. Now, the penguins seem much slower, but that's only because their shape is so much more efficient. Well, that's certainly not true of the humans. Just look at all that splashing. Well, down below, there's not even any energy being wasted making waves, let alone splashes. After only 5 strokes, they've started taking breaths. No problem for the Gen 2s. They can easily go 2 minutes without air. They're flying along now. Where's Beyondy? He's in the middle lane. He's already slightly ahead. They're coming up to the halfway mark now. 50 metres gone, fast into the turn. Look at this. It's vital to tuck the legs in tight to get round quickly. And there's a sea lion in the water. It's right in front of the Gen 2s. They've seen it. They've seen the sea lion. They're turning back too, and they've changed tactics. Well, this is a freestyle race. Just look at them go. They've started porpoising. And they're starting porpoising towards the finish. There's the finish now. They're probably touching 20 kilometres an hour, about 3 times the human world record. Well, at that speed, it's much more efficient to jump clear out of the water. Beyondy's showing his class. His power's incredible, pulling ahead of the other man, but the penguins are way out in front. Look at them, snatching breaths in mid-leap. Even the sea lion's fallen well behind them, and look at the speed of this man's arms, driving him on. Well, the Gen 2s are almost home, coming into the shallows at a blinding pace, but they aren't slackening off. They're throwing themselves at the finish, taking no chances, but they must surely be guaranteed to win now. They've made it back. Look at this. The Gen 2s are first, and what a stylish way to finish. Well, they're wasting no time getting out of the water. They clearly don't want to hang about, and who can blame them? Because they were swimming for their lives. And now there's just a moment to take it easy and wait for the rest of the field to finish. Beyondy is leading. He's going to do it. It's a new Olympic record. He's there, but he only takes the silver. The birds were really flying for gold.